Australia's plan, this groundbreaking move to put in place a national social media ban for anyone under 16. Our mission here is really to explore, the details of this law, the tech they think can enforce it, and maybe the biggest wild card in all of this, the teenagers themselves.
Yeah, and it's important to remember this isn't just happening in a vacuum down under. The context here is, it's global. You've got countries like the UK, France, Singapore, even various U.S. states watching this extremely closely.
Right.
They see it as maybe a critical test case in this whole battle for digital well-being, especially with rising concerns about youth mental health linked to, online stuff.
What kind of stuff are we talking about?
Well, the big drivers, the why behind such a drastic step, it really comes down to worries about mental and physical health. Things like cyberbullying, those harmful body image depictions we see, and frankly, a lot of misogynist content that's out there.
Okay, let's unpack the actual law then. So from December, these big social media companies, Meta, so that's Facebook, Instagram, plus Snapchat, TikTok, they're facing potentially huge fines.
Huge is right.
Yeah, up to $49.5 million. That's about $32 million US, if they don't take what they're calling reasonable steps to block users under 16. And we should remember, most platforms now say you need to be 13. So this is a step up.
It is. And that phrase, reasonable steps, that's where, that's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do they actually do that? Australia just finished up a trial testing out age-checking software. They had over 60 products pitched.
Wow, 60.
60. And here's the kicker.
Yeah.
The young people testing this stuff, they were so good, so adept at figuring it out that the organizers actually had to double the number of products they tested in each session and cut the session times in half just to get through them all.
Seriously. So the kids were basically too good for the test.
Pretty much. It really raises a big question, doesn't it? Just how effective can this technology be against teenagers who've, grown up with this stuff? They're digital natives.
Yeah, and that really brings us to something fascinating from the trial. One of the participants, Jasmine Elkin, she's a 13-year-old schoolgirl from Perth, and she just put it so simply. She said, people are always going to find a way to get past it. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
She even suggested easy ways around it, like, just get your older brother or sister to take the verification photo for you.
Exactly. And that's the core issue. It's not just the teens saying this either.
Yeah.
You have child protection advocates, the tech firms themselves, even the trial organizers. They're all voicing the same concern.
So the tech itself, how did it actually perform in the trial?
Well, it was interesting. Selfie-based software, the kind that uses biometrics, maybe checks if you're live to stop photo spoofs.
Mm-hmm.
That actually turned out to be the fastest and surprisingly the most accurate at identifying teens.
Mm-hmm.
But other methods, not so great, like credit card checks, often needs a parent, which kind of defeats the object.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this idea of scanning hand positions. Too broad, too much variation between people.
Right.
And the big problem underneath all this is there's still no real agreement on what counts as good enough reliability for this software. Is 70% effective? Okay. 80% doesn't need to be basically 100%. Nobody's quite settled that.
And we also heard from another teenager, 14-year-old Charlie Price. He uses Snapchat, Instagram, and also Discord, which is huge for gaming and chatting. He said, look, he could probably manage without them, but he knows other kids will be, and I quote, really shocked and upset.
Yeah, you can imagine.
And get this, he's already planning to collect phone numbers from his online friends before December hits. He fully expects kids will try to find ways around the ban.
So it really just begs the question, doesn't it? How can you truly enforce a digital age limit when the very group you're targeting is so skilled at finding loopholes? It's this modern dilemma, like drawing a line in the digital sand. And you even have figures like Elon Musk, owner of X, weighing in, calling the regulator involved a censorship commissar.
Ooh, strong words.
Yeah, it really highlights that fundamental tension between wanting to regulate and, digital freedom, or maybe just digital ingenuity.
So, okay, what does this all boil down to? Okay. For you listening and for the wider digital world, Australia is definitely a test case here. As Colm Gannon from the International Centre for Missing and Exploited Children Australia put it, everyone looking at Australia, it feels like they're building a digital wall, but maybe the teens are already digging tunnels.
That's a good way to put it. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, it's just a really powerful example of this ongoing global challenge, right? balancing online safety with, well, user creativity and ingenuity that forces us all, especially the platforms, to really think about what reasonable steps actually means. It probably means continuous adaptation, not just a one-off fix. They've got to constantly innovate against their own users, essentially.
The goalposts are always shifting.
Exactly.
So our final thought for you today, as this ban potentially rolls out in Australia, what kinds of new digital communication methods or, workaround innovations do you think young people might come up with to stay connected? And maybe more importantly, how could that ingenuity actually reshape the future of how we all interact online? Something to think about.